You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Here he goes in. Throwing it down! How about a poster? Anthony Davis is on fire!
You're listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q chiming with you. This is podcast 327 on the podcast. I'd like to welcome y'all aboard us. We're recapping the Pelicans' win or loss to the Sixers. Could have been a win. Very close to a win. We also preview the upcoming matchup tonight as they face off once again with the Los Angeles Lakers. Gonna be interesting. We'll go over it here tonight. So before we get going, we also have some insight that we're going to give on the Pelicans general manager position. We're going to play some Coach Gentry on his game comments about the Sixers. We have Danny Ferry coming up later on. And that round of applause for you and yours as we welcome you to join us, for joining us tonight on the podcast as we're getting down to Pelican business once again here in the Saints off season. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The Pelicans faced off against the 76ers in the Smoothie King Center. A very good crowd in the building. And they were behind a good deal of the game. You know, it was competitive. Pelicans were able to make a run. Very proud of how they played in the second half, by the way. You know, the defense got stiffer. You know, of course, held the Sixers to 28 points in the third and a game low 18 in the fourth, and almost pulled this thing out if it wasn't for a bonehead play by E'Twaun Moore. E'Twaun Moore this season, a lot of head scratching. You know, I'm thinking about E'Twaun Moore. You know, I'm really head scratching. It's questionable decisions at times. You know, I'm like, man, what's in there? What's going on up there? E'Twaun, what's going on? But anyway, let's get right into this matchup. Both teams struggled from the free throw line in this one. Philly finished 13 of 19 for about 68%, while the Pelicans were 17 of 24 for almost 71%. New Orleans outscored the Sixers in the paint 72-56. They struggle shooting the long ball. You know my saying, if they're not falling, stop shooting the damn thing. Start attacking the paint. They finished 5 of 28 from the three-point range. New Orleans recorded a season-high 15 steals en route to forcing 20 Philadelphia turnovers, resulting in 23 points for the Pelicans. New Orleans outscored Philly on the fast break 29-18. The Sixers grabbed 15 offensive rebounds, helping Philly outscore New Orleans on second chance points by 21-12, which is a major beef of mine as well, because second chance points, offensive rebounds, just getting offensive rebounds and putting those stick backs and getting extra opportunities to rescore. Pelicans don't have that because the scheme forces them to, once they get a shot, then leak out and run downfield to attempt to play defense, ultimately giving up walk-up layups. And it's just a stupid philosophy. You got to at least leak a guy or two to the offensive boards to rebound, to get extra opportunities just in case you miss. Tell it to Coach Gentry. The Sixers grabbed, after taking a 7-point lead in the second quarter, Philly built their lead up to double digits, leading by as much as 16 in the second and 17 in the third. That's big because after trailing 84-16 with about 5:23 remaining in the third, the Pelicans went on an 11-5 run to cut the deficit to 8, which was 88-81, and with just over a minute to play, in that time frame. Now, the big thing about the Pelicans, they scored 8 unanswered points, cutting Philly. That was in regulation. The Sixers built the lead back up 99-85 early in the fourth, but the Pelicans began to chip away again. Now they trailed by 10, 110-100 with about 2:48 remaining in regulation. The Pelicans went 8 unanswered. Now they cut Philly lead down to just 2 points with 18 seconds to play, and then of course Tobias Harris converted 1 of 2 from the free throw line. On the other end, the Sixers Then had a 111-108 lead with 16 seconds remaining. Julius Randle converted a layup with 10 seconds remaining to cut the deficit to 3 points. And then, of course, he did. I think it was, I'm sorry. I'm remembering in my head. He converted it down to 10 seconds with about deficit with 1 point. Then Simmons, who used to play for Orlando, he missed 2 free throws at the end. Now, I thought it was all New Orleans. I thought he was about to steal another one. Then the Pelicans had a chance to win the final seconds, but of course, Etwan Moore had a boneheaded play in which he tried to shoot the ball, should have pumped fake, do something. But Jimmy Butler batted the ball down. Ultimately, the Sixers were able to get the win. Now, the win marks the season sweep of the regular season against New Orleans, and with Philly as they take both games, winning each game by 1 point. Both games were competitive. Got to give them credit for that. Both games were competitive. And a very interesting, very well-played game. Now, before I get into the rest of the individual statistics, the team statistics, and individual point scoring, let's see what old Coach Gentry had to say about his team performance against Sixers.
We were going to try to get the ball in Drew's hands. Obviously, we weren't able to do that, but I thought we passed it. They did a great job of closing out, but, each one shooting that.
Backwards, you had a 10-point deficit to work through at the start of the fourth quarter. Can you talk about the way that your team worked through those 12 minutes?
Well, I thought the one thing we did is that we just kept trying. We didn't have our best game tonight. We had turnovers at crucial situations and things like that. But I thought we stayed with it and we competed. We gave ourselves a chance, and that's all you can do. That's a really good basketball team, even without Embiid out there. They're still a really good basketball team, with Simmons controlling the tempo of the game. And, they added not a good player, they added a great player in Tobias Harris. So Michael Scott, another shooter on the floor. I just thought that we could never really get the rhythm that we wanted to. The one thing we did a much, much better job with the second half is that I think they had 44 paint points in the first half, and I think they had 10 or 12 in the second half. So we did a good job of taking that away. And we just couldn't quite make the play or get the stop. Or, we had numerous opportunities where, we lay it in, we miss it, we tip it. We just couldn't get it in the basket. So I still say that we're playing with a lot of energy. The guys out there are trying to play and execute and do what we ask them to do. We've got to make more shots, 5 for 28 from the three-point line obviously is a struggle, and we got to do better than that. But and then we the second half I thought we did a much better job of moving the basketball, so we end up with almost 39 assists. But we just got to do a better job of finishing plays. We missed 12 layups in the first half. Right at the rim I'm talking about. We missed another 11 in the second half. So, you miss 23 layups, then, you're going to shoot low 40s if you're lucky. But we just got to continue to work, and I think we got to continue to try to compete at a real high level. And as long as we do that, we'll take the results.
That's Coach Gentry breaking down his thoughts on the game, and well said by old Coach. Pelicans, real proud of how the team came back in this affair. They were trailing by 14 twice, one time by 14, one by 16. Were able to come back in the game. Almost won it at the end if it wasn't by a good defensive play by Jimmy Butler that ultimately sees it for the Sixers. Now, of course, like I just read the statistics, Philly sweeps the Pelicans 111 to 110 in this game, but they sweep them on the season series 2-0. But ultimately, both games, the Pelicans were in it. They lost the first matchup 121 to 120, and then this one 111 to 110, which shows that the Pelicans step up to play. They're really stepping up to play in these games. The only thing I would really, well, not the only thing, but one of the really crucial things that I like with this, that I would prefer the Pelicans implement. Like if you got a weapon like Anthony Davis on your team, you got a guy like Anthony Davis on your team. In this matchup, he scored 18 points and had 6 rebounds in 21 minutes. Now, of course, the NBA wants them to play Anthony Davis if he's not injured. And of course, the Pelicans want to refrain him from playing because obviously they don't want to get him hurt so they can trade him. So they got to play him. My thing is be selective with his minutes. If you're going to play him between 20 to 25 minutes, I mean, it'd be wise for you and successful for you to play him in the fourth quarter. Play him when you need him. But having a guy like Anthony Davis, who went on reports say he never set out in the fourth quarter. You know, you got a guy like Anthony Davis, and you have to play him 25 minutes a game. Play him in the goddamn fourth quarter, because ultimately it could help. It ups your chances of winning these type of games when you need your best players. He's still the best player on his team. Nothing wrong with him in terms of his physical health. He's totally healthy. He wants to play him. Even if you have said, well, we're going to play him 25 minutes, it doesn't lessen his chances of getting hurt if he plays in the freaking fourth quarter. And ultimately, the Pelicans are, from the last time I've been following them, which has been a while, they are trying to make the playoffs. You know, they really are. Now, we know Anthony Davis is going to end up in Boston because they have the best pieces of packages that can offer. We know that's where he headed. We know that's what's going on. You know, but at the end of the day, that's something that they should implement in what they're doing. Add Anthony Davis in the fourth quarter, along with everybody else. Julius Randle continued to play really strong. 19 points, 14 rebounds in 34 minutes against the Sixers. Elfrid Payton, 30 minutes. He was 10 points, 14 rebounds in this one. Elfrid played well. Drew Holiday, he's really been spectacular. 22 points. Now that this is his team, I don't know if there's never been an opportunity where Drew Holiday had this, maybe in Philadelphia before all of the moves were made, before the process stuff came in. But this is his team. He's really taking it on his back. 22 points through 34 minutes. He had 7 assists and 5 rebounds in the game. Big time. Kendrick Williams really struggled in this one. 4 points and just 2 rebounds in 26 minutes. Really struggled. But the bench, you got to give credit where credit's due. Sheik Diallo off the bench with 8 points. And they played. Etuan Moore had 9 in the game. Of course, he struggled. He was 4 of 12. No particular bench guy really played well except for Sheik Diallo, who was 4 of 4 in 17 minutes. He had 8 points. Jahlil Okafor played 17 minutes, had 6 points, 4 rebounds. Like to see his minutes go up a little bit more. Frank Jackson, 4. Now, of course, the Pelicans are trying to figure out what kind of players they have. Youth-wise, you see Stanley Johnson. There was an article out and some information about the Pelicans saying they want to utilize Stanley Johnson at the point guard position or using him as a point forward to bring the ball up, which Stanley has handles. And he's a unique character, 6'7", 240 pounds. Kind of reminds me of Ron Artest without all the crazy. But he's a spectacular player, and the Pelicans get this kid here. And once he learns the system, he can really help the team. But I think I've always said this about what Dale Demps did leave Elvin Gentry. It was Gentry the one who underutilized what he had when he was just playing 8 players a night and having Anthony Davis lead the league in minutes played, and Drew Holiday a few spots behind him at the time. And I was saying he's going to get him run off because this guy don't know how to use his bench. He don't know what he has on the bench. And I was saying that Okafor can help you. I was saying Sheik Diallo can help you. I could say Frank Jackson, this guy can help you. These guys can help you. You have to give them the minutes. And with a balanced bench playing like they are, and if they can just open up some more minutes and start playing Anthony Davis in the key spots, I'm pretty sure that they can really do some stuff here. They really can. Now, before we go into our first break, because in a few minutes we're going to go into the break, I just think that with the Philadelphia 76ers got going on, it's really crazy. Tobias Harris comes over in the trade. They don't really lose a lot to get him. 29 points for him in this game to help take them over the edge. Now, of course, Joel Embiid was out in this one. You know, he was hurt, but Jimmy Butler struggled in this game. He was 5 of 16 for 11 points. J.J. Redick had 16 points. He didn't overly explode, but you had a couple of bench guys off the bench like Scott and McConnell, who scored 24 points collectively. But the Pelicans, like I said, despite the fact you had Ben Simmons, who also played, he kind of struggled. He was 7 of 16 on the night with 14 points in the game. But the Pelicans should have won this one as well. So the Indiana game, the Sixers game, you got to give it to them. They're in these contests that just can't close. Maybe if they had their best player in the fourth quarter, perhaps that would have heightened their chances of winning. But anyway, when we come back on the break, we'll play a little Danny Ferry, see what his thoughts on the interim general manager going forward. We'll preview the Lakers, and we'll have other information as well. So you listen to the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network. Stay with us.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Postgame Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
You're listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, we are the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network. And we're going forward, man. More Pelican news. In the first segment, we recap the Pelicans and Sixers matchup. Had a little Elvin Gentry give his breakdown, my breakdown as well. Now we move forward. In this segment, we're going to play a little, the interim general manager, Danny Ferry, who was the special assistant to Dale Demps, who ultimately got canned. S-canned, if you know what I mean. But, it was interesting to me because this is one of the first interviews that I heard from this guy, from him as the transformation has happened. Of course, Demps was fired last week sometimes, and now Danny Ferry is not an interim. Now to hear what his guidelines or what he thinks about what the team needs to do is really, really refreshing, because we talked about previously the relationship between Demps and Gentry, and Gentry was underutilizing the bench that Dale Demps provided to him. He wasn't playing Jahlil Okafor, he wasn't playing Sheik Diallo, he wasn't playing Frank Jackson, And ultimately what he was doing was he was starting 5 people, and then he was only pulling 3 people off the bench, and everybody was sitting every damn night. Now, if I was the guy who had to pay those guys' salary, imagine if you ran a business and you had 15 employees and only 8 of them were working while the rest of them just sat down all the time. I mean, come on. I mean, it was totally foolish how he was operating, and it's no wonder to me why the team was struggling how they are, because you wasn't getting the full bevy of what he could have gotten from the bench. Not so with Danny Ferry. Danny Ferry, as you can see, Ferry is obviously in Gentry's ear telling him to utilize his bench to the best of his ability. As you can see, Sheik Diallo's minutes going up. You can see Frank Jackson getting steady and consistent minutes. Jahlil Okafor's minutes did go down and dip, but you're seeing Kenrick Williams stepping in there. You're seeing some other pieces that you didn't see before starting to get more minutes, and that's obviously because of the influence of Danny Ferry. It can't be for old man Gentry, because he's proven to be throughout the season non-adjustable until the house is on fire. Then he finally starts moving some pieces. But anyway, let's listen to what Danny Ferry had to say about the team.
As the interim GM.
Well, it's been an interesting week, a hard week. Dell, for all of us, brought a lot of us here, and sorry to see things unfold. And obviously a lot of complex situations to work through, but we've gotten through it well. Going to continue to work through it. Our guys had an exciting win last game, played hard. Our young guys really scrapped, so it was a fun win for our organization.
What do your days look like now? What is it that you're attacking and focusing on?
On everything. I'm trying to be around the team as much as I can, and the players and the coaches. Along with that, the scouting staff and the front office group really has to be focused on going forward as well. And it'll be a big draft coming up here, free agency. There's a lot in front of this organization that needs to be ready in any way it can.
Before we go forward, let me ask you about Anthony Davis. We finally had some of the fervor die down just a touch, but it's going to kick right back up in the offseason when he's available once again on the trade block. How is your office handling setting things up for that? Are you discussing things with teams now, possibilities?
I appreciate you have to ask the question. And what we're doing right now as an organization is focused on having a great scouting process, knowing the draft as well as we can, along with that, getting ready for free agency, and really kind of watching our guys this year finish out the year. We want to be competitive. We want to go out and play hard every night, but we're also going to learn a lot about our group. We're going to learn about the guys that are going to be free agents that we have to make decisions on, and we're going to learn about our young guys. And the young guys in particular, they're getting so much more opportunity to play. They have a lot more film they can watch and a lot more growing they can do for the rest of this season through summer league and going forward.
The Pelicans have said the rest of the season is focused on growing those young talents, and they've been so much fun to watch. Walk me through Frank Jackson, Jahlil Okafor. What do you see out of them now that they're having this opportunity to show what they can do?
Well, first of all, the focus is to compete. Okay, and we want to go out and play hard every night. And those guys, check, Frank, Kenrich, Jahlil, those young group of guys have really been a big part of us going out and competing every night. And it's really been anchored by Drew. I mean, Drew is the ultimate professional, and just been a really a great experience for me to get to watch him over the last few years. But really, in this situation, he's really kind of led the group by example, and it's been huge.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
There you go. That's Danny Ferry chiming in with the intelligent, and Jen Hill is so awesome, man. She always manages to ask the questions that people want to know, and we just love Jen Hill so much. She's terrific. But this is the thing. You heard what Ferry said about evaluating the young talent and all this kind of stuff. Be mindful of that, because that could be double speak for tanking, because we plan these young people to try to find out what they can do. You're noticing that there was no talk about making the playoffs, even though that should be the mindset. When you're still good enough. This team, in my opinion, is still good enough to go to the playoffs. Seriously, they really are. Look at the matchups against Sixers. I know without Joel Embiid, they didn't have the full bevy of people, but still in all, the Pelicans only lost that game by 1. And it had Elvin Gentry used a better lineup approach in the Indiana game, which they're a very good team, they could have beat the Pacers too. So in essence, the 3 games after the All-Star break could all have been wins, as opposed to being 1 and 2 for the New Orleans Pelicans. So no talk of playoffs. but the evaluation process, some kind of way to sell you on the hopes of the team moving forward, because obviously they're looking at the draft. Now, they had key experts to say that this is a weak draft. Besides the top pieces that come off the board, this is a weak draft. So, we have a lot of accelerated picks for this year, next year in terms of second-round picks. And I didn't have any confidence in Dale Demps making anything happen in terms of drafting in a draft, because he would sell all his first-round picks. Hell, Dale Demps would sign contracts with Amir Asik to bring the guy in with a first-round draft pick. And then, when the guy underperforms his salary, then he would send him out with a first-round draft pick. So it was just like, it was foolish. But Danny Ferry is a lot more accomplished as a general manager. The guy knows what he's doing. He's been in teams that, with teams that haven't had, they've been in their down years, like with the Hawks, and how he was able to help build the Hawks back up. The good work he did with the Cleveland Cavaliers to help them get back to prominence. So it's been a few things, situations. He's way more experienced than what Dale Demps ever could be. So I have more confidence in Ferry because of his track record and knowing he knows what he's doing in that regard. Now, as far as the VP, remember there were two jobs. When they fired Dale Demps, two hats. Danny Ferry is only the interim general manager, the vice president of basketball operations, was a title that they gave to him after they didn't sign Joe Dumars. And I know y'all listening. I want y'all to go after Joe Dumars, go after an accomplished person, a person that played in the league, that was a Hall of Famer. And Joe Dumars is not doing anything. He's working for some sport agency. I mean, come on. This guy is one at the level as a player. He's well respected. He's a Hall of Famer. And he's also one at the executive level with the Detroit Pistons. And guess what? They were a prominent and consistent playoff team every year that Joe Dumars was there, except for like 1 year or maybe 2 years. And all those years he was there. But he knows what he's doing as well. Now, Gail Benson already said it coming down to money. That's the number one person on my book. Giffen and all these other guys and this fool that they talking about with the analytics. Forget all analytics garbage. You need a basketball mind. If you can't get a guy like Jerry West, I say go to Joe Dumars, man. He's from Louisiana, and he's the perfect fit for that vice president of the basketball operation. Let him come in. He'll start making the moves to make this team not the laughing stock that they were under Dale Demps, because it came out in papers that Dale Demps, that free agents didn't want to sign here because they didn't trust Dale Demps. All kind of stuff was going on. And you can't tell me, though, the New Orleans can't pull in free agents, but OKC can. Because of the region or where the cities. No, come on, man. We have more culture, better food, everything than most major cities. And New Orleans is terrific in that regard. Now, when it comes down, what the hell has OKC got to offer you? What, cow patties? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's all about how you choose to build a team and move forward. And the Pelicans, man, in my opinion, they're doing the right thing, man. They got a guy at the head. He has more sense than the previous guy. And he's talking right. I just want him to throw them playoffs, and now I won't hit his tanking nonsense, because that's tank talk. I'm just going to let you know it's tanking talk. But anyway, let's keep moving forward and talk about some more stuff. Now, the Pelicans, looking at the future, just to give you a little hint on a few things, the Pelicans have a few guys, and they're talking about free agency and what's going to happen now. Going into the salary cap table for, let's say, 2018, 2019, and then the next year, when Anthony Davis ultimately gets traded, Drew Holiday will be the highest cap. He's the highest paid player in terms of base salary right now. He makes a little bit more than than Anthony Davis. He's 25.3. After that, there is nobody. Probably you're looking at a guy like Julius Randle, who's making about 8.6 right now. But Etuan Moore makes a little more than him. But don't be surprised when Anthony Davis gets traded. Of course, I've been saying they're going to move Solomon Hill with him. And then probably the guys, whoever he goes, they're going to just release him. But Etuan Moore can be involved in something, too, because of that salary cap number. So it's a few things that you could expect moving forward as far as this team is concerned, because they're going to have some money to play with. The Pelicans going to have some money to play with. Kenrick Williams and most of those guys, they're not breaking the bank. Darius Miller, Alfred Payton, They're going to be free agents, so they don't really cost a lot of money. Jahlil Okafor has a 2-year contract under $2 million with a team option. Of course, they're going to opt in. It's super cheap contract. So Solomon Hill off the book, AD, that between those two, when they trade those guys, that's over $35 million, $37 million gone between Davis and Hill, and Drew Holiday will have the $25 million. And of course, you got to make the salaries match when they make a trade when they send them to Boston. Of course, probably you'll get Marcus Smart, Al Horford. The deal's got to work. Any one of those mixtures, please, no Gordon Hayward. But anyway, the Pelicans will have they'll have draft picks. They'll have some money to be able to bring people in during the Anthony Davis trade. So this could be a positive. This could, at first I didn't like it, but this could be really a blessing in disguise, because the Pelicans ultimately, after the trade occurs, and a lot of people expect it's going to be Boston, they can get back a lot. This team could really be better than what they are presently constructed. Now, looking at the Lakers matchup, the Pelicans face off against the Los Angeles Lakers tonight. It's a late matchup, a couple hours from now. Darius Miller is listed as out. Lonzo Ball is listed as out, so those guys won't play in this game. And, of course, the Lakers get a first-hand look at Davis as he gets there. Now, of course, I don't have to tell you who the top dog is for the Lakers. LeBron James leads them in points with 27 a night. He leads them in rebounds with about 9 a night, and then he leads them in assists. So LeBron is Mr. Laker. He's everything. Anthony Davis is still the top dog, and as far as points and rebounds go for the Pelicans, and Drew Holiday leads the team in assists. Now, since the New Orleans Pelicans knocked off the Lakers 128-115, they lost by 5 to the Memphis Grizzlies the other night, and they're kind of struggling. The Pelicans are up and down as well after the All-Star break. They're 1-2, and it's kind of odd, but the Pelicans just have to step their game up, man. They really do. 4-6 out of the last 10 contests versus the Lakers, who are really falling through the flow, 3-7, and on the 2-game snide. 115.6 with the Pelicans averaging while giving up 115. That's the problem. You can't score 115 points a game, give up 115, and expect to win any damn thing. Don't work that way. You're going to have to play some freaking defense and stop turning the ball over as much to have a chance. It's 20-something games left. I thought that'll be the lesson that's learned by now, being that you're playing these many games. Obviously, we'll see if it's kind of holds fast going into the rest of the season. 48% shooting from the field from the Pelicans, 47 rebounds, 27 assists, almost 6 blocks a night, and average about 7 steals a night. Lakers, 112 points a game, giving up 113. That's why they're where they are. 47.4 from the field, 47 rebounds a night, 25 assists, 5.5 blocks, 7.5 steals, 2 games losing streak, 3-7 the last 10 games. LeBron James is definitely going to get his team motivated to play. You can't tell me that the little deal, the Dale Dempsey's last Dale's revenge against the Lakers for tampering and all that nonsense Magic Johnson did is definitely affecting his team. And LeBron's going to have to do some wholesale selling to get this team into the playoffs. So, but anything, I won't count him out. He's a guy that's always done it before. He maybe missed the playoff one time, I think, in his career. I'm thinking back, but it'll be interesting to see if he could pull it off. But in this matchup here, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think with the Pelicans, they have a lot of confidence. They get up to play for the Lakers. They play really well in New Orleans. I'm going to give it to the Pelicans. I'm going to rock with them on this one. I think the Pelicans could probably pull this game off. I'm just going to be honest with you. We're going to rock with the Pelicans on here, and we're going to say that the Pelicans is going to make something happen here in this matchup, because obviously, you got to look at it, people. The Pelicans facing this team, and the Lakers are a team that is just I don't know right now. Unless LeBron just becomes his old, his younger former self, and these teams, they just start gelling. Ball is out, Rondo will start playing and picking up the slack. But I'm going to give it to the Pelicans, because I think the Pelicans, that they're healthy right now, minus Darius Miller. Drew Holiday is playing really well and confident despite the loss that they had against the Philadelphia 76ers. They look really good in that game, coming back from 14-16 twice. I mean, they have spirit, they have fight, they got drive, and that's something I really like to see in this team. Despite the fact they're 27-35 and 9-23 on the road. I still have confidence that they could beat the Lakers, who kind of reeling right now. The Lakers sitting at 29-31 and 17-12 at home. So it's a late game. Hopefully the Lakers will stumble and bumble, and the Pelicans can take it from them. Now, before we go, I want to talk about a few other things dealing with the Pelicans. A few roster injuries. Of course, I've been looking. I was like, during the preseason, we heard a lot about Trayvon Blewett. When Trayvon Blewett he was playing mostly out of the G League's Salt Lake City franchise, and of course, he had some surgeries. He's listed as questionable. Actually, he's out. So at the end of the day, I was like, man, what's Trayvon Blewett? We'll love to see him make his debut, but he is out, and it's a shame. I would love to see him, what he could bring to the table. The guy could shoot. He really could shoot. He can really help him. But both of their top shooters in terms of good shoot point, Trayvon Blewett, who has potential, and Darius Miller, who's one of the top 3-point shooters, is out with that right ankle strain. So we'll see what's going to happen on it. Anyway, I got the call. I said the Pelicans should be able to give it to the Lakers. Just play Anthony Davis a little bit more in the fourth quarter, please. And let's wrap this thing up. But anyway, that'll do it for the show today. Thank you for joining us on the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network. If you like the show, subscribe, hit the notification bell, go to the links in the description section below for information on our sponsors, for our social media, and donations. All that in that description section. So from us and the crew here at the Pelican Postgame Report, thank you for joining us. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Box, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest possible price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that That is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
There's a reason this office canceled Casual Friday. Why this guy is getting cut out of the will. And why sibling rivalries really exist. There's a reason he's always Employee of the Month. And why no shirt and no shoes is no problem. There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAstore.com has all the gear.